This is important to me. I think that in 2016, and I'll get into this in a little bit, but when we started in private label, it was 2016. We started with arbitrage and wholesale in 2015. And in 2016, it was a ridiculous time. You could go to Alibaba, or at the time, AliExpress or whatever it was, and you could order a couple hundred units of a product. You could take a picture with your cell phone and put it on Amazon, and there was a good chance you'd make some sales. Ridiculous to think today, because it's not that way anymore. So it's far more competitive. There are a lot more details around how the algorithm works and how to trigger that algorithm for ranking. But it's also, the positive of this is that it's far more disruptible because of tools like AI and Data Dive. So we're going to teach you how to use the latest technology in order to really be able to penetrate a niche and disrupt it. All right. So selling on Amazon is easy, right? The shoppers are there. There's hundreds of millions of them. You can source products on Alibaba and then you get rich. No. And that's true in some cases, right? But it's not true at all. And again, I'm going to be here to tell you how hard it is. Now, if you look at the distribution of sellers and small businesses and how they're doing, 31% of sellers are doing under $500 or, almost nothing. And when you get into the sweet spot of getting into the tens of thousands per month, which is in that 100,000, that's less than 4% of sellers get to a six-figure business. That's a significant milestone for me in a lot of ways, because what we're thinking about doing today is helping you find a product. And I want you to think not just in terms of revenue, but in profit. Profit matters more than anything. Now, if I can get you in the mindset of thinking about, I will not choose a product. I want you to make this commitment with me right now. I will not choose a product unless I can make a minimum with all expenses, net, of $100 a day in profit. Now that's on the low end. And if you have a bigger budget, you might be able to raise that bar a little bit. But I want your commitment today that you will not choose a product that's only selling a few units a day and making you $6 every time it sells. The same amount of effort to find, source, design, and manage that product is the same amount of effort you'll need for something making you $200 a day. All right. So we need to be thinking in terms of profit per day, not necessarily revenue like this. But if we work backwards from that and we assume that we're net at 20%, which would be, pretty good. If you're doing $500,000 in revenue, you can have a six-figure income from selling on Amazon, right? But more importantly, let's work backwards from that commitment that we're going to make a minimum of $100 per product. Let's say we find something making $250 in profit per day. That's a good benchmark. You're making $250 in profit a day. That might not be enough to pay all your bills, right? That's okay. Let's do that 10 times. Now you've got something. $2,500 a day in profit makes you wealthy, right? That can make you rich. That can change your life. Right? $250 a day, probably not going to change your life. You're gonna be happier probably running your own business. Stressed out, believe me. But $2,500 a day, that's going to change your life. So let's make a commitment that we're going to look at profit, that we're going to have a minimum, and then we're going to do that way. So competition is serious even for sophisticated sellers. This gives you an idea of, the top sellers' lifetime by cohort. This means that only 20% of top sellers are still there after 7 years. There's a lot of turnover in the categories. There's a lifetime value to how long a product can stay a bestseller. That means that Amazon is disruptible. So just as much as you might consider this a bad thing, it's also a good thing. It means that you're coming in now and you're like, is it too late, right? All this talk around it's harder, it's not as easy. The tools I'm going to show you today and how to use AI and how to use Data Dive mean that you can knock these guys off. Someone's comfortable. Someone's been selling for 4, 5, 6 years with the same product. That means you can come in and design a better product. You can design as a better bundle, a better widget, a better looking product, packaging, some kind of way to disrupt them. And we'll go over some of those ways. And you will be able to disrupt them. Now, if they only launched that 1 or 2 products or 5 products and they got comfortable because they were making their $1,000 a day, they're like, that's all I need to live. They're going to be SOL in a few years when that income disappears. So this is also a numbers game where you not need to constantly be thinking about new product development, constantly researching new products, and constantly launching the next product in your brand. So get in the mindset today that I'm not going to go find one product. I want you to think about this as well. I'm not going to just find one product and go launch it and win and start making some side money. I'm thinking about creating a brand that I can sell for millions of dollars. And in order to do that, I have to always be doing research. I need to always be launching new products, right? That's the commitment. So there's a few fake gurus on here. Like this guy has been sued by the FTC for tens of millions of dollars. He had a settlement against him. You might recognize him from sitting in front of a Lambo and talking about how easy Amazon is. Don't fall for that crap. Learn from someone actually doing it who's going to tell you the reality of it. Be careful. And do not fall for the done for you. The done for you business, the automated, the passive income. All of those guys are getting arrested. They're stealing your money. They are not legit. None of them are legit. All right. That is just a scam. Because if they could do it if they could do it for you, they would just continue to do it for themselves, right? I'm teaching you how to fish. I'm not offering to fish for you because I'm fishing for myself, right? So if my wife wasn't running my brand's business and I had to be in the business, I wouldn't have time to teach like I do. So the fact that she and I work together frees me up to come and help others, which is, so fulfilling for us. So that's why we can do what we do. But we're not going to offer to do it for you. No one's going to do it for you. You got to do it yourself. So make that commitment that you're going to do it yourself. All right. If you don't have the time to commit to this and you don't want to commit to, don't start. Don't waste your money. Don't sign up for any more classes. Don't worry about the software. Don't order any inventory because you'll just lose your money. I can guarantee you're going to lose your money in the long run. Okay. So please make the commitment that you're going to learn this yourself. And if you make the commitment to launch it, you are going to launch it and do it yourself. All right. And you can see that it's not just the money. I mean, there were very, very smart people coming into this industry, some of which had already been sellers, right? That raised a ton of money, hundreds of millions or even over $1 billion to go buy Amazon businesses. And they failed. They ended up failing. They bought businesses and those businesses crashed because no one is going to care about your business as much as you do. That's the bottom line here. So don't get in the mindset also that you're going to be able to spin up a few products and then hand it over to somebody. That person is not going to care about your business as much as you do. So again, you're making the commitment today that when you go through this process, you launch this product, that you are going to build $1 million business and you are going to be the main operator of that business. You can outsource certain things, but no one's going to care about your business and run your business. No one's going to be up, from dinner time until 2 a.m. every night, working on their business, except for you, right? And I wish that it was just a 40-hour-a-week business once it gets to a certain size. Once you have a 7-figure business, you really need to learn how to scale that business with people and with processes. And that's another whole animal. A lot of people sell their business at that point, and that's fine. But no one's going to help you get to that point besides yourself. All right. So selling on Amazon is hard. This is the reality. So it's a simple business model, right? It's solved. I'll tell you, the first thing I'm telling you is that it's solved. I could tell you what data to look at. I could tell you how to disrupt. I could give you the processes. But it's going to take a lot of learning curves. It's going to take a lot of work. You're going to learn over the next few days only the product development learning curves, right? We're going to talk about sourcing, and we're going to get into sourcing in that last day. But you still got logistics. You've still got content creation for your images and your content and your image stack. and your A+ content. You've still got marketing and PPC, which are massive learning curves. So what you're learning over the course of these few days and these few classes is just the first learning curve to being successful. Now, you'll see that it's solved. It's fun. If you enjoy doing it like I do, I love product development. I love design. I love being creative. And, that's one thing. But once you get that product and you make that commitment on that order, there's a couple more things you got to do that are really important, and ads is another whole monster. All right. So it's more competitive than it ever has been, and it'll only continue to get more competitive. The best day to start an Amazon business and to launch your first product is today. The best time besides today was 10 years ago. All right. There will not be a better day than today anymore. So every day it's going to get harder. Now, there will be new tools, there will be new strategies, there will be more data. You got to stay on top of it. So make the commitment also that you're going to always be a learner. You have to be learning constantly. All right. We talked about this in 2016 when we started Private Label. You could basically get any product you wanted and you could make a ton of money, and it was nice, and we did it. 2016 to 2019. We started with more advanced strategies. You had to, right? Like, you had a lot of Chinese sellers entering the space. There was cheating. There was black hat. You had to be able to combat the black hat. But if you knew how to do SEO and keyword research, you would win. And that's what we taught. Now, the aggregators came in and started buying up businesses and trying to operate them. And they failed. Most of them failed. There's a few that I'm friends with that are still operating. But not every business they've bought has been successful either. And this was a crazy time because you could sell your Amazon business for 5 times, 7 times your annual profit. So let's say you had built up $1 million business and you were doing $200,000 in profit. You could sell your business for $1 million. That's crazy. Like $1 million in your pocket for a year's worth of work to get to $200,000 in profit, or 18 months of work, or 24 months of work. And hundreds of my students did that. So now the software boom is now. This is where we're at. You've got to have better software and you've got to use AI. So if it's, this is what we're going to teach you today is really how to leverage the best software, the best data, and AI to create a physical product and win on Amazon. It's so cool. All right. Some of this stuff I'm going to skip. I mean, there's a little bit, I don't need to keep going down that lane. So is making money still possible? There's a few case studies you can go watch. Anthony Cofrancesco, who was working with us for a few years, he went and interviewed a few of our students. This is Dimitri. Dimitro is a student of ours. He's a multi-7-figure business owner. And this is one of his products that he launched, right? He crushed his launch, ran out of stock. And you can see, like, this is a heat map showing his organic ranks of his keywords day over day. And you can see when he was out of stock here. And then he was able to relaunch it, bring it back into stock, and make a lot of money. This is another student of ours, Arnav. He was just on Office Hours a few minutes ago. I don't know if he's on the call. If you're on the call, say hello. But Arnav did another call with Anthony. Again, a real world case study. Got to $65,000 a month in revenue and 18% profit margin with a brand new launch. And then was able to sell his company. Arnav, if you're on, I mean, what are you, 22, 23 years old? It makes me sick, first of all, how young you are and how good looking you are and how good your hair is. All of it makes me sick. But you're amazing. You're brilliant. And I love to see you win. And he put in the work, showed up at Office Hours, like every single week. We have our Inner Circle Mastermind. Every single week I'm live to answer questions. He would show up, he would ask questions, and he would learn, and then he executed. And he was able to sell this company, had his first exit in his early 20s. I'll say early 20s. Yeah, and here he is. We've got the chance to meet him in person, got to hang out with him. I've also hung out with him in San Francisco. He was in the Bay Area, now he's in Arizona. So this is the power of data. You launch your product, you're really, really pushing hard, you run out of stock or you have an issue, you get back, but then you struggle, right? Like, this is the struggle period. This is when you're really having issues with like indexing your, these ranks are not good. So, I mean, you're zoomed out, you don't really know data dive yet, but these are the organic ranks. Green is great. Green means you're in the top 3 or 5 for a keyword. These are all the keywords. And this is a heat map over the course of months, right? 30, 60, 90, a few months. And you can see here that there was this period where we weren't sure, like he wasn't sure what was going on. But then you could turn it around with data, with the right indexing, with the right SEO strategy. And then boom, now you're number 1, number 2, number 3 for most of these keywords. And so this is the power of doing what we teach you how to do, which is, look at the data, make the right decision from the data, and continue pushing forward.